Want to learn how to use pivot tables? Today, I'll show you absolutely everything you need to master them. In this mini course, you'll learn how to create a pivot table like this one, complete with a pivot chart and slicers to segment your data. All the while, we'll help Elon Musk oust the CFO of Tesla. Let's get started. Section 1. How to create a pivot table from scratch. Let's say you have a list like this with Tesla's sales detailed by year, country, and model. And your boss Elon Musk asks you to fetch two things. First, he wants the revenue per year for each country. Second, he needs the number of cars sold of each model. You could get this data with several SUMIF formulas. But honestly, I wouldn't risk Elon thinking you're an Excel slowpoke and firing you, especially when you can get the data you need in a minute with a pivot table. First, select any part of your list, go to the Insert tab and select Pivot Table. A window like this will open where Excel asks you to confirm a couple of things. The first is the data range it should use to build your table. Usually, Excel does a good job selecting it for you, but it never hurts to double-check that it's using all your list data. In this case, it did without a hitch. The second thing it asks is where you want to insert your table. You can choose any spot in your document, but it's usually more convenient to put it on a new sheet. Done. On this new sheet, you'll see a new section on the right side with all the fields from your original list. You have the year, country, model, etc. All you have to do to create your first pivot table is drag the fields. We said you wanted the revenue per year for each country, right? Well, if you drag the countries to the rows section, you'll see Excel gives you a list of all the unique values it found in your original table in the country column. Now, if you drag the revenue to the values section, boom! You've got the total revenue by country. Easy, right? Oh, but you needed the breakdown by year. Well, let's drag the years to the rows under your country field, and there, you've got the breakdown you need. But before we continue, an important detail. When you need breakdowns like this case, you have two options. You can put them in rows as we have now, so you can expand and hide the breakdown, or if you drag the years to columns, it puts them in columns. Which option is better? Neither. It depends on the data you want to show and your personal preferences, so it's always good to try both to see which one makes your data more understandable. In this case, I'll leave it in columns. Before adding anything else to your pivot table, we need to tidy it up a bit because it starts to look as messy as Elon's love life. Let's start with the field names because here the name sum of revenue looks awful. To change it, just overwrite it here in your column. Let's call it total revenue. Now, what does revenue represent? Money, right? Then why doesn't it have a currency format? Let's fix that. Select any value in your column with the revenue. Right-click and select Number Format. In this window that appears, select Currency and indicate how many decimals you want in your data. I'll put 0. Done. Next, let's remove a couple of things that are just in the way. For example, this column on the right with the totals is just cluttering things up. It's the sum of the 3 years and you only want to see the data by year, so you can remove it. Select your table. Go to the Design tab, and in the option of Grand Totals, select off for rows and columns. And since you're on this tab, let's add a bit of design. I like a style like this, simple and clean. Finally, go to the Pivot Table Analyze tab and click here to deactivate the field headers. Look how clean your table looks now. Now let's move on to the second pivot table where you need the number of cars sold of each model. Since the data source is the same, we can apply a little shortcut. You can simply copy and paste your first pivot table and you already have a new one with all the formatting improvements you already made. All that remains is to change the fields to display. What you want to see are the units sold per model, so just remove the revenue and replace it with the units sold, then remove the countries and drag the models to rows. Done. Let's quickly recap this section so you can create your pivot table without having to re-watch the whole video. Step 1. Select any part of your list, go to the Insert tab, and select Pivot Table. Step 2. Make sure Excel has selected all your data and indicate that you want the pivot table on a new sheet. Step 3. drag the fields to the sections you need. In this case, we'll put countries in rows, years in columns, and revenue in values. Step 4. Change the column titles by overwriting them. Select any of your cells, right-click, select Number Format, choose Currency, and adjust the decimals. Step 5. With your table selected, go to the Design tab, and in the option of Grand Totals, deactivate for rows and columns. Step 6. In the same tab, select a cleaner design. Step 7. Go to the Pivot Table Analyze tab and click on the Field Headers option to disable them. Step 8. Select your pivot table, copy and paste it to create a new one. Now just modify the fields. In this case, we'll put units sold in values and models in rows. Section 2. Using percentages in pivot tables. Your pivot tables already served up heaps of valuable data, but there's always more to see. Imagine Elon checks out your tables and goes, "Perfect. But now I want to know what percentage of total revenue each country represents for each year." Alright, let's crunch those numbers. It's not tough, just a bit tricky, so pay close attention. First off, add revenue to your values again. This will pop up another column with the exact same numbers. To morph these into percentages, right-click any cell in that new column, navigate to Show Values As, and pick Percentage of Column Total. Boom! You've got the revenue percentage for each country. Before we move on, let's tidy up the format because my OCD won't let me sleep tonight otherwise. Rename the field to Percentage of Total Revenue by overwriting it. Then let's ditch the extra decimals to clean up the view. Click on any cell, choose Number Format, and set it to 0 decimals. There, much neater. Now we can proceed. You might wonder why pick Percentage of Column Total instead of some other option. Great question, my little grasshopper. By setting it to show percentages of the column totals, and since the columns represent years, these figures show what percentage of each year's total revenue was generated by each country. For instance, Australia made up 8% of 2022's revenue, Brazil 11%, and so on. Conversely, if you switch to percentage of row total, since rows represent countries, it would show what percentage of a country's total revenue was made in each year. So from Australia's total revenue, 36% was made in 2022, 35% in 2023, and the remaining 29% in 2024. But since Elon asked for percentages by country per year, let's flip it back to that. Now, ready to learn something even cooler? Suppose Elon goes, you know what? I need these percentages, but broken down by model. The plot thickens, right? First up, remove the revenue field to keep just the percentages. Next, drag the data by model into the rows. Now we have the breakdown we need, but look closely. These figures don't tell you much because they're showing percentages relative to the total general revenue. Wouldn't it be way more useful to see the percentages relative to each country's total? Let's make that happen. Right-click, go to Show Values As, and then choose More Options. In the new window, if you pick Show Data As, you'll see all the options Excel offers. What we need now is percentage of parent total. What's this parent stuff about? Simple, when you do breakdowns, a parent field is just the field higher up in the hierarchy. In our case, let's say the child field is the models, and the parent field is the countries. Finally, just tell Excel which parent field you want to base it on. Here, it's the country. Click OK, and you're all set. Now we can show Elon that, for instance, in Australia, the Roadster was our top performer, bringing in 41% of the 2022 revenue, and the Cybertruck was the least performer with only 8%. Quick recap of this section. Step 1. To view the percent of revenue each country represented each year, add revenue to values again. Right-click in any cell in the new column. Head to Show Values As and select Percentage of Column Total. Step 2. Spruce up the format. Change the field name to Percentage of Total Revenue and remove extra decimals by right-clicking, choosing Number Format, and specifying 0 decimals. Step 3. To see the percentage of revenue each model represented from each country, remove the initial revenue field to keep only the percentages and add the model type to the rows. Step 4. Right-click any cell, Show Values As, and choose More Options. Select Show Data As and opt for Percentage of Parent Total. Tell Excel to base it on the country field. Section 3. Using calculated fields. With the data you've already crunched, you've become Elon's go-to guy. So now he's asking for your help to uncover some shady dealings by the company's CFO. Every time Elon asks how the Cybertruck sales are doing, he just gets a breezy, "Don't worry, all is well." But he suspects something's fishy. He wants you to calculate the profit margin for each model to see if we're losing money on the Cybertruck or any other model. If business isn't exactly your jam, no worries. The formula for calculating the profit margin is super straightforward. It's just revenue minus total cost, and then that result divided by the revenue again. What's crucial here isn't the formula itself, but how we'll use it. You're about to learn how to apply this using calculated fields in pivot tables. These fields let you quickly apply formulas at the row or column level. Let me show you what I mean. Since we want the profit margin for each model, a lot of data in our current pivot table is now useless. Let's strip it down and keep just the models. Revisiting the profit margin formula, you'll see we only need two numbers, revenue and total cost. We've already got the revenue, so just add that to your values. The second number, total cost, isn't directly available, but we can calculate it from two components, manufacturing and distribution costs. How do we sum these in a pivot table? By using a calculated field. With your pivot table selected, head over to the Pivot Table Analyze tab, then find the Fields, Items, and Sets option and choose Calculated Fields. A window will pop up, allowing you to create calculated fields simply by typing in the formulas. First off, you need to name your calculated field. We're figuring out the total cost, right? So let's name it that. Now, in the box at the bottom, you'll see a list of all your pivot table fields. To insert a field into your formula, select them and click Insert Field or just double-click. To calculate the total cost, just add the manufacturing cost field. Slap a plus sign, then the distribution cost. Click OK and boom! You've got a new column showing the total cost. Give me a second to format it as currency to make my OCD happy. We'll tweak the field name too. Here's a little tip. By default, the field name will be sum of total cost. Not super slick, right? To make it cleaner and remove the sum, you might hit an error because there's already a field by that name, your calculated field. It's a bit goofy how Excel does this, but to avoid renaming entirely, just add a space at the end. Excel treats it as a different name. Silly, but effective. Now we have the revenue and cost, so all that's left is to calculate the profit margin, and the process is exactly the same. Back to calculated fields. Let's name our field profit margin. Now, just type the formula. Add the revenue field, then a minus sign. Add the field for total cost that you previously calculated, followed by a division sign, and add the revenue field again. Following basic algebra rules, let's put the subtraction in parentheses to make Excel do the subtraction first, then divide by the revenue. Click OK, and you're all set. Just format it as a percentage, fix the name, and there you have all the data you needed. Oh boy, Elon was right. We are indeed losing money on the Cybertruck. Let's break this section down. Step 1. Clear all fields from your current pivot table except for the models. Step 2. With your table selected, go to the Pivot Table Analyze tab and choose Calculated Fields from the Fields, Items, and Sets menu. Step 3. Name your calculated field. Let's call it Total Cost. Step 4. Time to calculate the total cost. First, double-click the Manufacturing Cost field at the bottom, add a plus sign, and then add the distribution cost. Hit OK. Step 5. Let's fix the format. Format it as currency and try renaming the field. If you get an error saying the field name already exists, just add a space at the end. Step 6. Calculate the profit margin. In the Calculated Fields section, first name your field profit margin. Then add the fields following the profit margin formula. Subtract total cost from revenue divided by revenue. Click OK and you're done. Step 7. Format your field as a percentage. Fix the name and you've got all the data you needed. Section 4. Creating pivot charts. Now that you've discovered the CFO has been lying, Elon is furious. He's about to blow up like one of his Starship rockets. So, he's made it his mission to expose the CFO in front of the whole company in a very public way. To help him out, he's asked you to whip up a chart that shows the difference in profit margins by model to highlight where money is being lost. It's going to be a breeze since using pivot tables unlocks a special kind of chart called pivot charts. Let's see how to build them. The first thing we're going to do is remove the other fields from your pivot table and leave only the profit margins. With your pivot table selected, head to the Pivot Table Analyze tab and click on Pivot Chart. Excel will automatically add the chart it thinks best displays your data. In this case, it chose a column chart. It looks good, but we need to make a few tweaks to make it super clear. First, let's add a title. We can call it Profit Margin per Model. Next, we're going to change the chart type. Like with traditional charts, Excel offers a bunch of ways to represent your data. To check out all your options with your chart selected, go to the Design tab and then click on Change Chart Type. We could go with columns, pie, line charts, etc. For this scenario, I think horizontal column charts would be best. Looks better, right? Next up, a little tip. Always use the Switch Rows Columns option when working with pivot charts, which, as the name suggests, flips your data around. Sometimes the original setup looks better, but it's always worth a shot. Here, the flip data makes more sense, doesn't it? This tweak also highlights one of the major differences between pivot charts and regular charts. Your pivot table and the chart are structurally connected. When we switch the chart, it also switched things around in your table. Any change you make to one affects the other. For instance, check out what happens if you add a breakdown by year to your pivot table. Boom! It pops up in your chart immediately. Cool, huh? But that's not what Elon asked for. So let's switch it back. Now, to avoid wasting time tweaking every single element of your chart, we can save precious minutes using one of Excel's quick styles. Head over to the Design tab, click on Quick Layout, and you'll see different styles to choose from. You can explore how each looks, but for this chart, I know the second one is the best. It turned out super clear, right? Ready to overthrow the CFO. Here's a quick recap of this section. Step 1. Remove all the fields from your pivot table, leaving only the profit margin. Step 2. With your pivot table selected, go to the Pivot Table Analyze tab and select Pivot Chart. Step 3. Add a title to your pivot chart. Step 4. Change the chart type. With your chart selected, go to the Design tab, then click on Change Chart Type. Choose a horizontal column chart. Step 5. Use the Switch Rows Columns option to improve your chart's readability. Step 6. For final design tweaks, use one of Excel's quick layouts. Go to the Design tab, select Quick Layout, and choose the style you want. Section 5. Using slicers to segment information. You've helped Elon so much that he feels like a happy hippo on his mission to overthrow the CFO. You glance at your pivot chart and it seems almost ready to be shown off to the company. The only thing left he wants is a way to play around with the data easily during his presentation. He's skilled in about 5,000 areas, but oddly enough, Excel isn't one of his strong suits. That's where slicers come in. Slicers are extremely handy tools that let you filter and segment data on the fly without having to set up filters. Let's see how they work. With your pivot chart active, go to the Pivot Chart Analyze tab and select Insert Slicer. You'll see a pop-up asking which fields you'd like to use to segment your data. In this case, it would be useful to segment by year and by model. Let's pick those. After clicking OK, you'll see these neat little selectors pop up. Let's quickly rearrange them so they're out of the way. And now for the magic. Elon wants to see only the data for the Cybertruck? He just needs to select Cybertruck. Also wants to see the data for the Model S to compare the profit margins? By clicking the button with the multiple checks, he can activate multiple selection, so he just has to pick both models, and there you have the data. Wants to see just the data from 2023? Just click on that year and voila! Could it be any easier? Bye-bye, CFO! Let's recap this section. Step 1. With your pivot table selected, go to the Pivot Table Analyze tab and choose Insert Slicer. Specify which fields you want to use to segment your data. Step 2. Arrange them so they're not in the way and select the data you want to see. To enable multiple selection, click on the button with multiple checks. Step 3. Say goodbye to the CFO. You've mastered pivot tables, one of the most sought-after skills in the job market. Know what the other one is? The VLOOKUP function, and the good news is that you can master it in this other course I made for you. See you there!